when you're on these late season hunts and you got a stove, you got to be cautious how close you put those boots next to a stove.
Do you got a story?
You got a story?
I got one for sure.
Oh, let's hear it.
Really?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I was in Alaska. I went on that moose hunt and had a pair of these actually, cause I'd been on an elk hunt and then I drove so I packed out 2 bulls.
What are those, by the way, just for clarity?
Yeah. So this is a Hanwag Makra Combi, which is a synthetic leather boot, relatively stiff. I think it's a 4-flex. So it's got more stiffness than, like the Trek does. But, I'd been wearing this on an elk hunt with Neville, and we'd gone to Wyoming. We killed 2 bulls. We packed out 2 bulls in 2 days. Archery hunt, typical Wyoming high country hunt. It was great for archery hunting. And then I drove to Salt Lake, threw all my gear out in the parking lot, put it back together, and then jumped on a plane and flew to Alaska and went on a moose hunt. Got up there, hunted moose. It did okay, but one night the guy I was hunting with, I think he kind of kicked my boot up under the stove a little bit. And I got up the next morning and the whole end cap of this boot was completely sunk in.
I remember seeing your boots down. You said that when you got back.
All the rubber rand here around the toe was completely sunk in, probably, I don't know, 3/4 of an inch, I'd say. It was I bet it shrunk that boot to, so like my boot's like 11 and a half. I bet it at the time, it was probably like a size 10. I mean, I'd lost an inch, at least, inch and a half in one,
right foot
in
or
one
left
boot.
foot?
My right.
So your bigger foot,
my
too.
My bigger foot. So what we did is we took, I think we had a towel or a t-shirt, and we took that thing and heated it up in boiling water, and we just packed it down the end of that boot and just got it hot and just packed it wet down in there and just kind of stretched it out. And I did get it to a point where I could finally fit my foot in it.
So it shrunk enough you could not even get your foot in.
I could barely get my foot into it. I mean, my toe was like pulled, way back. But I made it work for the next 5 days, I guess. But
brutal.
Holy shit.
You definitely want to watch that. Like when you're hunting late season with a stove, you want to be aware of where your boots are in relation to it.
Especially any sort of custom orthotic, wherever you have if you pop one of those out and stick next to the stove as well, that thing can curl up on you. And it's going to take
You got a story there?
Yeah, that was we had a wall tent camp once back in Montana. Me and a bunch of college buddies, and I think at the time I had super feet. Took my super feet out. Wall tent stove, rocking hot in there. It's like Africa hot.
Africa hot.
You're basically down to a t-shirt walking around. Yeah, but my boots were wet because of snow.
How nice is that in a late season stormy hunt though?
It's just a classic fun hunt when you have a wall tent and a big stove. And I popped them out. Stuck them underneath the stove by accident. They're soaking wet. Like I need to dry these things off. And of course, you fall asleep and I'm going to wake up in a little bit and deal with that. Left them all night. Those suckers just curled and that material just got hot and moved upwards. So when I put my foot in there, it was just a big hard ball, right in the arch of my foot. And it was just super awkward the rest of the hunt. And I couldn't I tried to stick it underneath it again, heat it up and mush that thing down. But no, those are toast.
Yeah, you want to be aware of it.
Yeah, I don't have any stories like that on a hunt. Mine's just the one in the garage, which I did honestly freak out about because I went to put them on to travel in on the plane because, don't take up any bag space. And I'm like, well, fuck, this ain't going to work. So then I'm scrambling. And then we had to stop in town, which you pretty much always overnight in one of the bigger towns there before you get picked up, which is easy. But I was stressed, but man, I've never burned them on a stove or any of that shit.
Yeah, cool, dry place to dry your boots out. Never direct sunlight if you get them soaked out.
And it's something we have to be cautious about too, living in Las Vegas or if you're an Arizona person in California. Like if you put your boots in your truck and you're going to leave them there all day at work, your hunting boots, no way. That's bad. Bad news.
Yeah.
And that goes for a lot of stuff here though. Optics, ammo, leaving ammo in your garage through the summer.